And he goes, I got it more than hey, Jeff, you charge me more than that. He goes, you won't get a little.
I sent you a text last night.
I did see it. 100 claims.
And then I realized, but you don't have to take your dog anywhere. It's fine. But
I'm like,
yeah,
you see, no, I have it.
right.
Yeah.
But he wasn't itching about it.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
I didn't
Well,
think of it. either.
whatever the national night out is.
We
it's like
can't
a-
do it too.
Returns for all these years.
I was gonna say, I've never had a claim on my
Yeah.
insurance.
It's summer, it's really starting, well, not really. they're kind of-
Well, $2,000 from 1970. I started with the house all the way up.
Right, yeah, we can look
You
at
just
it.
some.
1970.
We can look at back this week.
Yeah, 55 years.
No.
4 years. No, that's a lot of money. I could just well do that.
Public safety day at the fair.
Maybe that's the year after I started, maybe we'd.
Mary, do you want me to still check on that?
Well, maybe we just do that.
Yeah. So you still want me to check on drone training?
That's
I can say the
right.
body and the truck.
Right.
Yeah, it's not
The
gonna hurt.
CRCT
Oh,
Yeah, it's
training?
not gonna hurt. Happens today.
Okay.
Because he has to change it.
I don't
No,
know.
it's that, but with some more.
At least we'd know one way or another.
Right.
Aluminum.
And then Sarah, I'm sure, gets information too through.
And then
Steel has a memory.
if it'd be possible for, our individuals to use them.
Oh, no, my.
It is 9 o'clock, so we'll come to order. Everyone is present. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The approval of the agenda, I do have one addition. We want to discuss consideration for potential drone purchase. I'd like to add it, so I'd like to make the motion to add under 14B, which would be new business, the drone consideration purchase. Do I have support?
I'll second that.
We have motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll approve the agenda with the drone purchase, approval of the minutes.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion, and we have support. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Minutes are approved. Claims and accounts.
Claims and accounts for April 24th, 26th through May 14th, 2026. Claims in the amount of $27,600.02. EFTs in the amount of $810,273.99. Desk checks in the amount of $1,548,597.43 for a grand total $2,386,509.44. Make a motion to accept claims and accounts.
I'll support. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Lori. Devon,
Yes.
If you run out of time.
Hardy,
No,
Yes.
are you going to?
Pelletier,
Yes.
Hamlin.
Yes.
I just-
That's-
I can't.
Claims and accounts are passed. Limited public comments, please refrain from personal attacks, public comments.
William Houston, Atlanta Senior Center. Danny's going to give an update on our building. About a year and a half ago, I got from Cheryl's office a printout of the 2020 McCollum millage. There were several townships that had a very low percentage of yes votes. When I sent this information to McCullough, I hoped that they would first of all find out why the needs in those townships. and then develop a 5-year plan to work with those townships to increase the services, the communication, et cetera. And after a year and a half, I've heard nothing back in terms of, that plan or the opportunity to discuss it. So once again, they want our support, but there's no communication.
Public comment?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Danny Davis here representing the senior group. Just to enlighten everyone, kind of where we're at the moment. Within this week and just yesterday, we actually have information from our insurance company that they are more or less more willingness to work with us, telling you to go ahead. You tear the building down for what our general contractor has. We have appointed a general contractor at this point in time, try to keep up with the paperwork. That's all supports everything. Sent that to the insurance company, but Tony is involved somewhat constantly. We will be starting with the demolition process soon. Within this week also, we went over and talked with a gentleman that Sarah has helped us align with, get more information on granting and a lot of the things that could happen with senior centers like it had happened. I think it was in Alcona County. It all depends on how far you were willing to push it, carry it, support it, have financial backing, all those kind of things. Everybody knows when you build something, you still have to have financial support for it, because before long you could have lots of things, but no financial support. Other than that, I guess if anyone has any questions, it will be in the paper that we are progressing, kind of like just information so people are just wondering where are we at. But other than that, things will progress now at a certain pace. It seemed like we had different insurance people with amnesia when you call down with them. And so things are moving forward. And I guess if anyone has any questions, don't ever hesitate to either call, ask, do whatever. I guess that's it. Thank you.
Total tear down, nothing salvageable.
That's not true. Right now, the removal of the stuff that you can see mainly on the north side of the building, and then there will be a construction engineer, then look at what's left to know whether or not it can be done, because a lot of the records have been missing over time, as far as because it was done back in 85. A lot of the building, Tony doesn't have the building permits and stuff downstairs. So hopefully we can find those, reclaim those somehow or other after we get inside, to be able to have more information. But right now, it's not a complete tear down. It's not discounted as a complete tear down, but it's just that step by step inside that everybody drives by and sees, kind of got to get out of there so you can evaluate the process and then go from there.
So who's on your board, or how are you progressing? I mean, if people in the community are interested, how can they contact you and help the process?
Basically, we have a general contractor that will be letting the community know, because if we found out through the insurance company that you took too many people speaking, before long you're in trouble, because otherwise you need one person, the insurance company, and working back and forth, and our general contractor working with us, because otherwise everyone's becoming so frustrated with the process that, how long the building's been in place. And after the insurance gentleman was here and said that it was, certain amount of damage, they send it in, they react. But as far as there'll be something in the paper as far as being able to help. It probably won't be much of a volunteer basis, especially on the tearing down, cleaning up, because of liabilities, insurances and that kind of a thing. So getting people in there to kind of work help, it will just be a part of, a complete project. The volunteers may come in after the building, the roof is probably on, maybe getting into some of the drywall work to save money. But the electrical will be a contractual thing. It's got to be all codes. Everything's from 1985 to now. Codes have changed, structural codes have changed. But and we're hoping that when Sarah and I had talked about collaborating with other areas in the county to see if our building could stretch to be bigger, to have a collaborative process. It's just that we're, you know, I guess that's a never ending process, but where we have to be able to contact, I think, people, and I and our board haven't got to the point to be able to say, well, you know, who's interested in collaborating? I mean, so far, a lot of the things that people we've been working with, relating to, it's not been a cohesive conversation in our even our taxing process. So, you know, it's a constant battle, just so everybody knows. And maybe you don't even call it a battle. It's a constant workplace, you know, that you just, and it's just like if your own house went down, what would you do? It would be a constant contact this one, contact that one. Who can you get? Who's the best? Who's going to return, you know? I don't know if that answers your question or not, Mary. But.
Well, I was just taught, you had said that you had a board, and I was just wondering, you know, if you have regular board meetings that.
We have a board, yes. We've always had a board for
Right.
years, yes.
So is there regular meetings that people can attend?
Right now, it's kind of regular meetings, they're not, you know, because it's based on, you know, you have an issue and you call a board meeting or whatever, you meet, you deal with the issue, you send paperwork out that's required. But if anyone has any questions, they definitely speak up, you know, because, you know, there's no secrets in the process, put it that way. We'd much rather everybody know more about it, especially because of the collaborating process that we would, in time, like to see this expand to more of a community style type building. But right now, it's in a certain mode, and we have our own hurdles to jump, you know, within the organization. So it doesn't mean that you don't always have problems that you have to deal with. So, what do you think, Bob?
Sounds good to me. I mean, it'd be nice if you know our board meeting is coming up or a meeting is coming up, they could give the public some notice.
Right. Well, that's the reason we just tried to bring up here, you know, what we're doing to the public, because otherwise, as far as having anything to say, you don't have anything to say, you know, it's good. I mean, if anyone has any questions, never hesitate. In fact, that's what's going to be in the paper here this next week, as far as anyone has any questions. But there's always a question when you see something lying there and nothing happens, but it's our insurance company that was really dragging their feet, and you can't, some things you can't push. You get a wagon with all flat tires and it'll get it down the road, but it'll just be a bumpy road. So thank you.
Thank you.
Public comment? Hearing none. Special presentations, we have none. No department head reports, committee reports. Where I started, Michelle?
Michigan Works, I did not attend that, but I did get some information from them. Programs up to date, they do have, from the programs, they filled 2,517 jobs. Customers served, they've had over 8,000 served. Almost 1,000 employers served. Out of the 2,500 jobs filled, 35 of them have earned credentials. So some of their programs, they've helped people get their required work gear, like steel-toed boots. They've helped people transition from lost job into a new job, to where they've exceeded their prior wages. Let's see what else we have. Here's just a little quote from a person through the GoPro program, where it helps strengthen employers and getting people into their positions, into new jobs. It says, when I lost my job, I didn't know what to do. When I walked into Michigan Works, I was lost, angry, and sad. But the staff immediately stepped in and helped and supported me. They helped me through the unemployment process, checked in on my job search, and became my cheerleaders. I cannot express the gratitude I have for the staff at Michigan Works and what it does for its community members. Just a little testimonial there. And then another one, Substance Use Disorder Oversight Committee. From what they have for the month of May, the total admissions are 16% lower at this time. Out of the admissions, the number one is alcohol. Number two is methamphetamines, 3 heroin, and 4th other opiates and synthetics. They had a Catholic Human Services presentation, some of the services that they do. They help a lot of jails with their programs. They serve 9 jails. It provides opioid and alcohol services while the person's incarcerated. Through their incarceration and when they re-enter into the community, part of the program is they will help them with medications, therapy. They can do telehealth support in rural areas. So they just did a little presentation while we were there, and that is it. Mike?
Yes, on Thursday, April 23rd at 2:30, I had Thunder Bay Transportation Board meeting. In that meeting, we had our presentation for our audit. Everything came through on the audit. There was one small item that still needed to be rectified, but it wasn't a problem. We're coming along on the roof replacement. That should be wound up if the wind knocks down. That should be done by the end of May. We have our grant funding for the kids to ride free during the summer vacation to the Boys and Girls Club. That was a great program last year, and we put another grant in for this year, and we've gotten that. So that's pretty much on Thunder Bay. On April 24th in Gaylord, we had Northeast Michigan Community Correction Service. This is a board that's growing. We only meet every 2 months, but the attendance is getting better and better. In this meeting, some of the topics that we touched on, that the high points. North Point is a service that helps people when they get out of jail, and we're not seeing any good reports on that, so we're going to dissolve our relationship with those. That's going by the wayside.
You said North Point?
Yeah. Catholic Human Services Recovery Care Services. It's not a new program, but it seems to be taken off really good, so they're using that. And then Wayne State University is collecting a lot of jail data. We don't know exactly what they're going to do with this yet, but they're putting a lot of data together, and then they're in the future they're going to give us a presentation. We have a problem in a number of our jails that have the single cell housing. That's something that occasionally you have to separate your individuals, and single cell housing is a problem. And then we have the RESA. It's an adult education program, and that is taken off great. A lot of people using it, and it's helped a lot of people once they get out. So there was all good reports on that one. And then Friday, May 1st, we had our Northeast Michigan Community, NUMSCA. And this was another one. The meeting went really fast, but they have a number of topics that we hit on that our advocates for the volunteer program. They are looking, it's a great program, and they're looking to get more people to help out with the foster grandparents program and the senior companion program. That's been doing wonders for a lot of people that don't have a lot of good support out of their homes with their own families. And then one of the other ones we have is the BOSS program, Bridges of Self-Sufficiency. This young lady that they chose to talk about, her name is Abby, and she's been in this program from start to finish. The program was able to assist with purchase of a laptop for school, and also provided her with the printer ink to assist in her schoolwork. BOSS assisted her financially with a couple of oil changes for her car, vehicle license plates, registration renewal, and driver's license renewal. And then apartment rent payments, she was behind on those, and they've got her all caught up on that. And successfully completed her medical billing and coding course. So that's a happy outcome to a program that's proven itself to be very worthwhile. And then again, our water program, 27 individuals assisted, 12 households, for a total of $7,536. Plumbing repairs, 56 individuals assisted, total of $14,402. And our weatherization program just keeps going up and up and up. We did have a setback. Some of our employees that are on these rebuilding teams for the repairs to homes and stuff have found better jobs and had to move out other places. So we've got a number of positions that are open that we're trying to fill. That's all I have.
So for that BOSS program, so how, like, if constituents are interested in something like that, what is the parameters for them getting into that? This sounds like this is a younger woman trying to get back on her feet. So.
And there are a number of them. I don't have all of those, but they do get screened through MCOA, and those that are.
So this is for older?
No, not older. Abby is in her 20s.
Okay.
Would they have that broke down,
No.
like a breakdown on their website of what that
Yes,
program
it
is?
is definitely on their website.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Bob?
We're both on the same board. You want to take it this time, or you want me to?
Okay. Meeting on the 8th, they took in the $72,000 for the month, and the injection wells, 603, 752. And they're putting a hold on the wells, that they want to put wells around, putting a hold because it was gonna cost a lot of money for them to do. Also, they're getting a lot of stuff, getting a lot of stuff from Sheboygan and the other landfills because of the water damage and everything. And it added to it, but there again, you're waiting to dry up, so they didn't have to do that. And the fencing, it's funny, the fencing for around the side to keep the wind from blowing the stuff off, the poles alone were what, $400 and some a piece. in there.
And we
Like-
had all of estimates.
20 foot tall.
$29,000 to do
Yeah.
just the poles to the fencing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's on the hold.
Right, okay.
Other than that was it.
And to clarify a little bit, it's the natural gas conversion from landfill gas to natural gas. It's on hold until we're done with cell C, have that completed, then we'll start looking more seriously at it again.
Did you have anything else, Bob? Did you have any other meetings?
Yeah.
Okay. Bob, none? No others? Okay. And I had, on the first, we had a meeting with RRS. They're the consulting group. We're working with the material management process on, and we had to meet here, and that would have been myself, April, and the clerk, and sit on those committees to discuss Montmorency's plan going forward, and to relook at our goals that we had come up with those shared meetings. There's a lot of number one, RRS is going to come up and update the goals and draft the plan for future review and action by this board. They are going to provide us with an estimate for what coordination cost looks like for some of those services if we decide we are going to contract for some of that help. A lot of our plans and the goals came from when the community did those surveys. And actually, for our size, we only need to actually come up with one drop site. We know that we have 3 very distinct communities. It's kind of hard to come up with one site that people are going to be able to actually use. And of course, the purpose of this is to keep the recyclables out of the landfill. And it all has to be something that's measurable on a regular basis to meet those Eagle standards.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we are with that. So we haven't heard, I haven't seen anything back from the meeting. Yeah, they haven't sent us any update on that. And there are some funding sources that we're going to have to tap into in the near future. And I think that's going to come out in the plan as well, in addition to coordination costs for some of those services that might be necessary. So we had that first meeting, work in progress. We are meeting the timeline at this point. Is there anything else that I missed that we should add?
Nope. The biggest thing that we want to hit for recyclables in Montmorency County is, maybe educating people about composting so that we aren't putting that kind of waste into the landfill, to kind of ease up on the landfills side, what's going out there, and then having recyclables, making it easier for people to do cardboard, plastics, that kind of thing in the county. And then possibly doing like events like scrap tire days, electrical recycling events, like Eagle does grants that you can jump into, so you can get like an event once a year kind of thing and do those kinds of recycling events.
What about doing something at the fair? With recycling or, anything like that. We could have a table and set stuff up.
What we were talking about is probably doing more of classes with MSU Extension.
Okay.
So they could do like programs with people, so like backyard composting, things like that, so people can learn a little bit about it.
Okay.
But not even that, also like maybe partnering with the schools to teach kids, because if you teach the kids to do it at the schools and they do it at the schools, then they can do community service hours, possible things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, because one of the largest wastes we have is food.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the total.
That was what the survey showed.
Yeah, like 277,000 tons, which is crazy. And then the next one was the corrugated cardboard, and that was like, I think at 52 or 57,000.
Yeah.
So, and that might be, MSU does do booths
Right.
at the
Yeah, the
fair,
4-H,
so maybe
yeah.
that would be a good thing to tap into it. And see if Adam or whoever arranges that could add that,
Okay.
some of that material.
Yeah, because I brought that up when he was here the one time.
Okay, and I haven't seen him at the meeting
No.
that I've been at, but that might be a good thing to discuss and ask. So that was the big meeting. We've had FPS, and I did sit in on the meeting that Denny and Sarah had with Lenny Avery about the building here in Atlanta. And that is all I have. Any questions anybody else has? Non-controllers report?
Hi, I got news back from Murma for our wrap grant for the access doors and camera system. You see them installing currently. Sorry for the noise. They're doing the door switches and the cameras right now here. They're starting the sheriff's department next week. But Murma approved the grant, so they're gonna reimburse us $21,068.09. So we won't be paying the full cost first. And, yeah, when they got here and started install, there was a lot of equipment they don't need to put in, so we get to return a bunch, so that's gonna save us some money too. Which is nice. A big thing, it's a long hurdle we still have to go through, but the congressionally directed spending project that we worked on. I received notice from both Senator Peters and Senator Slotkin that they approved. They picked both of that project to go forward to the Homeland Security Committee. It was a big project we put together about doing modernization of our dispatch center, sheriff's department, a permanent EOC, a mobile command center, all new radios for the county. It was about a $600,000 project that we submitted to the senators. They both chose it and went on to the Homeland Security Committee, and it'll go through. It's got to go through all the steps of legislation, and if they approve it, that money comes to us through the budget. So we got some hurdles to go through, but we did meet the first step on that. Our Murma self-insured retention fund right now, that's sitting at $79,531.05. That's what we pay our insurance claims out of now, so that's sitting healthy. Deputy phones, I met with the Verizon rep, went over all those new phones and the services that are available to it. I put all the deputies gave me the list of what phones they wanted, so that list went over to them to get them ordered, so those should be here soon. It's already in the budget, got that all taken care of. I didn't have the summary report, but just note the new leased cars did come in beginning of May, and those have been, Bernie's working on upfitting them now, so they came early. We were looking at August, they did come in now, so they are here. The fiscal 25 audit, the auditors were here for 2 days. They're finalizing audit adjustments. They should get them back to me soon. I know they were still working on a couple of things. I gave them the OPEB actuarial, so they should be finishing that up. They will plan to present the audit in June at the board meeting for approval. So I'm not sure which meeting yet. They were waiting to look at their schedule, so we'll have a final number then. At the meeting with Lenny Avery, one of the things he talked to me about at the end of the meeting is he wants to know if there's a potential for me to figure out if we could come up with 60 homes that might possibly need roof, furnace, or water heater repairs. And he could help me write a CDBG grant to cover those costs for the Montmorency County. And so that's some project that we would probably work on here in the next little bit. So look for that to come up soon.
How are you gonna post that? Like put that on the website?
He'll help me. We gotta build the parameters for it, and then we'll see who's eligible for it.
Okay.
And we assume about 60 households could be eligible for it to get those replacements.
And what is it? Roof, water, and?
It'd be roof replacement, water heaters, and furnaces. 2 new opioid payments came in for about $4,000. That current fund balance in the opioid fund is $153,000, and you got another $35,000 expected for this fiscal year. I'll be at the MACO conference next week for administrators. So I'll be at Crystal Mountain next week. We still have that MERS education on the books for June 22nd for employees. I'm just putting that out as another reminder. So if anybody has questions on the new Empower or going over their retirement plans, this is a good one for employees to attend. We're still in that 90-day wait period with the soil erosion ordinance, so I have no updates on that currently. I'll let you know as soon as I have more information on that. I already talked about the access door systems being updated. FEMA did obligate the management expense category Z for $32.89. That was that last bit of that FEMA program money we were gonna get. So they did approve it, and that should be hitting the bank here soon.
I'm sorry, how much was that?
$3,289. It was the last little bit. It's the extra money we get for just running the FEMA projects. The last things, these are agenda items I need just approvals to do things with. I put together a proposal to submit a USDA grant proposal for funding laptops for deputies, docking stations, and e-ticketing software and printers. It would help with modernization at the sheriff's office, improve operational efficiency, enhance officer safety, and improve public safety. My hopes that USDA will not require a match for this grant, or we can find another grant to help offset the match, but the grant is for approximately $65,000. It's estimated on the high end. It could be a lot lower than that, But I'm asking for the board's approval for me to submit this to the USDA and get more information to find out what that match could possibly be. And then, I'll get you final numbers when I know for sure if it's gonna be a match and how we fund it. If there is a match required, I would suggest we'd use the emergency services fund that we're putting money into to help offset it. But I'm hoping that USDA, because of our population size, we should be able to get pretty much either 75% or 100% funded.
What is that? What is our emergency management budget? What are we at right now? What is our?
Right now, oh shoot, that was last I checked, it was just over $70,000, maybe 80, a little bit more than that.
I would make the motion to proceed with the grant for you to gather the information on that match funding for the modernization project for the sheriff's department. Do I need to be more specific than that?
I'll second that.
Do you want that more specific? Do I need to?
Oh, that's okay. I'll come back with all the numbers.
Your motion is to proceed with the USD grant.
And for the controller to gather the information for the match funding. For the sheriff department modernization project. Lloyd, you second?
Yes.
Okay, I have a motion, a second. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Hardy,
Yes.
Peltier,
Yes.
Yes.
Madison.
Yes.
Devon.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next up, we need to have our driveway repaired and, along with the sheriff's department needs to be repaired, resealed and striped. We got quotes from Northern Sealer and Up North Seal Coating and Striping. There's a big pothole in our front one that just gets worse. And Northern Sealer talked about actually cold patching that and fixing that. And they actually came in at a lower quote with that repair. Their quote was $12,840 and the Up North Seal Coating came in at $13,400 and that was for both. So I'm suggesting we use Northern Sealer to do all 3 parking lots. And use the county improvement funds to cover that expense this year. So I would need a motion to approve that if you guys are okay with us moving forward with that project.
Up north wasn't repairing the hole with that
No,
13,000.
they didn't say anything. They just said pulling it apart and restripping it or resealing it and striping it. And they did it last time and they didn't repair it. So I'd rather go with the other company that actually addressed the issue.
And the other company that's gonna fix it, he said what he thinks happened when they made the parking lot, that there might have been a tree there and the roots are there that have.
Decomposed.
Yeah, thank you, that's what I want, and that's why it's sinking in, so at least you gave me a reason for why it's doing it.
I'll make the motion that we go with Northern Sealer for $12,840 for sealing all 3 sites.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Roll call, please, Lori.
Your motion is to go with, you said Northern Sealer for $12,840.
Yep.
To repair the driveways.
Yeah, all 3 parking lots. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll arrange with Chad to make sure that we get everybody, we shuffle cars around.
And they'll do it on the weekend, of course.
So, Peltier,
Yes.
Hamlin,
Yes.
Madison,
Yes.
Devon,
Yes.
Hardee's.
Yes. Motion passes. The budget adjustment approval.
Okay, so now, with, the Eagle grant that came in and we had, the MEDC grant that with the generators and the food pantries, I made 2 departments, to track those money coming in and expenditures going out. So because we're paying our per diems and things for the Eagle, MMP meetings and things like that. So I moved money from the general fund, just regular revenues to those departments, so that created budget adjustments that are over that 10,000 threshold in the general fund. It doesn't change the bottom number of the budget for the general fund, it's just moving those in those departments. And plus it moved money from the county improvement fund to do the down payment for the access door systems that we talked about and the upfit purchases that we did that you guys approved. So all motions, so those monies came in. Again, no change to the bottom surplus of the budget, just adjustments in the budget. So I just need a motion to approve that. But also there were some adjustment requests from Lindsay's office for the 519 for just expenditures for forfeiture costs that came in that will change the bottom line of the fund balance in 519. In the amount of 14,899.36, and then the fund 602, that's the county improvement fund. Those are those expenditures for the access door system and the upfit cost for the car. So that changed that fund balance number for that amount up of 39,106.74. So those three numbers, 0 for fund 101, fund 519, 14,899.36, and fund 602, 39,106.74. I need board approval to make those budget adjustments.
I would make a motion to accept the amendment 2026-01 regarding adjustments to Fund 101, Fund 519, Fund 602 in the amount that's prescribed here.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have motion and a second. Any discussion on that? I do. So the 39,000 for Fund 602, what was that again?
That would have been the $21,000 we brought in from county improvement fund to pay for those upfit costs for the cars. So we bought the cameras, and all the extra light bars and things like that. And then the down payment for the EPS access system and cars, our cameras and access door systems.
So this is all previously known
Yep.
expenditures?
Yeah.
No increases or no?
No, they were
New in there?
both board approved expenditures. I just moved the money in the budget now, so I'm just getting board approval on those budget adjustments.
And 519 is the settlement and forfeiture.
Yeah, 519 is the only one that we're not
Right.
motion before. Those were expenses for forfeitures and delinquents in the 519 fund. And Lindsay, if you had more questions or answers on them, but there's, I think your original ones here. Hang on.
And you gave us, that's what the printout was in our packet.
Yep.
The budget amendment that we received. And everybody probably reviewed. Okay.
One was the 11th, there's 11,000, the 519 was for our excess proceeds we had to pay out. And one was for legal costs for an amount of $3,700. So those are just costs that you in 519, you're not gonna know until it happens.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Evelyn,
Yes.
Madison,
Yes.
Cardy,
Yes.
Pelletier.
Yes.
Budget amendment approval has passed.
Okay. Yeah, 2 employees that moved from hourly employees to salary employees. And in doing so, they had comp and PTO time, which we talked about a while last year that this would happen, probably could happen again, but we weren't sure if it would. And we never did put anything in the policies or anything about it. We were waiting for the policies to come back. Obviously, they haven't come back. So I need approval to pay out both Lori and Camille for their time. It's gonna be a total of $4,232.09 between the two of them.
You give me that amount again?
$4,232.09, and that's, when I ran this was balances of 514. That's as of today, but that doesn't mean that there wouldn't have been more, because officially Lori doesn't change over until Monday. So, you know, there could be a little bit more on that, earning on that. And then I gave a motion that to prove it, along with, so that we can make sure that we can just do it with payroll if this happens again, to kind of put in place.
So it could be part of the, just the policy going forward.
Yeah.
HR. I would make the motion to authorize, and I'm gonna, Lori, did you get a copy of that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because that's, I would, to authorize the payment of earned but unused compensatory time and or paid time off balances for Lori Kerwin and Camille Laporte related to their transition from hourly positions to salaried chief deputy positions in accordance with the county personnel policies, documented earned balances and payroll records. It goes on to say, further, the board authorizes the controller administrator moving forward to administratively process and approve those payouts of earned but unused compensatory time and or PTO balances for employees transitioning from an hourly to salaried position without requiring additional board action for each individual occurrence, provided such payouts are consistent with county policy, documented earned balances and existing budget authority. The board further acknowledges that such payments may require budget amendments or adjustments during the fiscal year and finds such adjustments necessary for proper payroll administration and employee compensation. This authorization is intended to ensure timely and efficient payroll administration and to prevent delays in employee compensation during position status changes. So this is going to do two things. It moves Camille and Lori to be compensated for that time in PTO as they transition into their next role, but also put this into the policy going forward. So we have that. Can I get support?
I'll support.
We have a motion and support. Okay, discussion.
So is this just gonna be kind of a Band-Aid, so to speak, until we put it permanently in the company policy handbook?
Well, if we add
County
this,
policy handbook?
when we get the policy, can we not add it, or is this?
What I
something
can
you
do is
wanna
I can
send?
send this wording to the attorney and say, please incorporate this with our policy.
Which makes sense. I like that idea.
We're working on the handbook, or are we
Right.
done with that yet, or we still got?
Still waiting for him, but at this point, you're right, Bob, we could add it.
Hmm.
So I could amend my motion to include that, to send it to be part of the policy going forward. I support.
I'll support that.
Is there any issue with what we're doing? We've discussed it pretty extensively last fall when we did that. And again, it's not, we don't, the department heads determine and the elected
In their
officials determine
departments.
who's going to go to those positions. We don't have control over that. We just have to deal with the financial aspect.
Yeah, not likely to happen unless there's for some reason,
Chief deputy leaves.
price or a wage increase that goes along with it. It'd be the only reason we would have to review it, right?
Well,
I mean, other than the standard by going to that position,
right.
if they're getting an additional increase, that'd be the only time we'd have to improve it on top of what's the position.
Yeah, someone foreseeable.
Yeah, and every time somebody changes positions, it comes in front of the board, so you'd be aware of any time it happens. It's just a matter of paying that out when it does occur.
Standard thing.
Yep.
No further discussion? Roll call, Lori?
Madison,
Yes,
Bob,
Yes.
Hardee's,
Yes,
Peltier,
Yeah,
Hamlin.
Yes.
motion passes. Prosecutor's office position and pay rate.
Vicky came to, finance and talked to you guys about this, but she had a dentist appointment today, so she couldn't make it today. She, her part-time position resigned, and she has 3 positions in her office. She's got a pay grade 1, a pay grade 2, and a pay grade 4. Her pay grade 2 and pay grade 4 person are still there, and they will stay there. She's got to hire a pay grade 1 person. The person that she's hiring had 20 years experience as a paralegal. She wants to work, currently we have a part-time person available to work up to 26 to 27 hours per week in her office. She said this person will likely work 20 to 25 hours per week. And she worked in family law for the last 12 years. And so she's asking with her years of experience, instead of hiring her at the step 1, to get approval to move her to the step 3, which would be the 1909. And so she's requesting that approval from the board to move up with her years of experience in paralegal.
Just remind us what step 1 would be.
Step 1 is 1779.
So it'd be from 1779, she's requesting the 1909.
Yes.
And again, she said this person has family law, and something else that she had brought up was she's not specifying in her.
Yeah, so she's
What her job title is.
Right.
currently in the only one of her labels, she put child support specialist. Because the second person, it says child support specialist, but that person, those are grant titles. So we have victims advocate in that office, we have child support specialist. Those are 2 grant Title 4D. Money comes back to the office from those. She doesn't want those attached to any position because anybody in the office could technically do the work, but the money comes back from the grant. And she says that this person could probably do a lot of that child support specialist work. And so the money that we're asking for increase could be reimbursed by this grant. So even though you are increasing her pay, that pay would be reimbursed by this grant.
Level 2 pay.
Her level 2 person is at step 3 at 1989 on pay grade 2. That is.
Step 2 is 18 something, right?
Are you asking step 2 or grade level 2? Sorry.
Pay grade level 2 is or never mind, you're talking steps instead of pay grade. Step 2 is what I meant.
Step 2 would be 1843.
Does anybody want to make a motion to accept that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept level 3 at 1909.
Pay grade 1, step 3.
Okay, that's what.
Be specific.
Okay, pay grade 1. Yeah, 1, step 3.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? She was pleased. She said she's worked with her before.
She said she worked with her, I think, for 10 years.
Yeah, that's what she said. So she's really confident in her abilities, and has a lot of experience. So that's good. Any other discussion, concerns? Roll call, please, Lori.
Bob,
Yes.
Hardis,
Yes.
Peltier,
Yes.
Hamlin,
Yes.
Madison.
Yes,
Okay. That's it for me.
USDA grant opportunity. Discussion items, there's none listed. We don't have anything under unfinished right now. New business, we have the 2026 annual report of surplus funds.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did everybody get this? Do I send this to you? Okay. I'm second guessing myself. So I just want to give you a little, I guess, catch up on a couple of the court cases that kind of affected some of this decision making too. So I know that we talked a little bit about the Pung versus Isabella case, and right now that's at the federal Supreme Court. Treasurers around the country are kind of holding on to our seats to see what's going to happen with that. And the big argument with it is right now we have 78T where anybody that loses their home to foreclosure can file for excess proceeds. But this ups the ante to say that you don't just get excess proceeds, you get fair market value. So just to kind of put it into perspective, say someone owed $10,000 on back taxes, we sold the home for $100,000. they currently could file for excess proceeds, which would put $90,000 in the person's pocket that lost their home. But if the fair market value on that home is $300,000, now the county would have to pay the person that lost their house $290,000. So it's a big, big deal. And unfortunately, it's coming out of Michigan, so kind of all eyes are on Michigan, but there's a lot of other states in the country that have modeled off of Michigan's 78T because it really kind of has been a successful program. So we're not fighting this alone in the Supreme Court. A lot of other states are with us, a lot of organizations. Our legal counsel through Michigan Association of County Treasurers really strongly believes that this is just going to go away and that it's not going to go through. But the potential devastation for counties doing this is terrible. It could possibly bankrupt counties. I think you would see a lot of us county treasurers saying, we're not going to be the FGU anymore, the foreclosing governmental unit anymore. State, you can have it because then you can pay the fair market value because us counties can't afford to do that. So anyways, there's a lot of uncertainty with that. Fortunately, but unfortunately for Isabella County, they are fighting that case by themselves. There's been other counties that have dedicated funds for their cause. There's no legal battle, legal costs for us right now, but the potential uncertainty of it just kind of making people sit on the edge of their seats. Also, just a quick update, there isn't much, but as some of you probably know, the county is in a settlement, a class action lawsuit. Montmorency County is involved on, they're calling it the east side, but it's Fox versus Saginaw. We've been in it for a few years. As you guys know, you agreed and signed the settlement a few months ago, but there's been some things that have happened since then. So the judge that was hearing the Fox versus Saginaw case got popped for super drunk. And actually he just got fined or got sentenced, whatever. So nonetheless, he got taken off the case because he has his own personal litigation going on. And they did just reassign a new judge. But while all of this is happening, actually our legal counsel for MACT yesterday, he said he's been doing litigation and civil cases for a long, long time and has never seen this happen. But the attorneys that initially brought this case, the settlement case before the Fox versus Saginaw, are now saying, yeah, we're not so sure about this, and they're backing out. So time will tell. We only have one parcel that's involved with this. Thankfully, there's some counties that have multiple parcels. The good news on all of this is that the deadline to file in the class action lawsuit was October 1st last year. So no one else added to it. And since then, we have paid out all of those that could have gotten into it. Those are the 2020 and priors. We are done with those. They went very well, successful. I think I reported on that last time. But we do have one parcel that's still in there. However, because we're part of a bigger group of this Fox versus Saginaw, we have to pay the group price. The longer litigation goes out, the longer legal fees are. So there's just some uncertainty with it. I think worst case scenario, we're gonna have to pay this person out. We would have anyways if they would have just came through regular proceeds or notice for excess proceeds under the 78T. So on that front, I'm not really expecting anything over and above what myself and Sherry had predicted. However, it's the legal fees that I just don't know what's going to happen. So anyways, getting into the annual report of balance and the DTRF foreclosure funds. This was pulled the day that I sent it to you guys. So these numbers may be a little bit different. However, it's not going to change a ton. Currently between the currently as of this date, between the 516 and the 519 funds, we have 4.9922391 as a fund balance. My projected fund appropriations for next year and well paid out this year, this fiscal year, 2025 tax year settlement was just over 1.4 million. That's actually going to increase just a tiny bit, but again, not going to move the numbers much here. Potential I should have changed that word, rather than surplus proceeds, potential excess proceeds, 1.2. This is a little bit higher than last year, because more people are finding out. Okay, more people are gonna be filing notices, so I expect that to increase. We'll probably find a somewhere where it's gonna level out, but until then, I wanna make sure that we're safe. Potential legal, I bumped that up too, because we've got two very uncertain cases right now. I'd rather have more than have to come back and take back any surplus. And then the 2026 tax year settlement at 1.7. So the county surplus that I think is deemed is $331,304.50. I'll just read this bottom real quick. MCL 21178M provides that not later than June 30th of the second calendar year after foreclosure, wow, I have a lot of typos in this. The foreclosing governmental unit shall submit a written report to its Board of Commissioners identifying any remaining balance and any contingent cost of title or other legal claims described in subdivisions A through F. I will continue to secure and safeguard these funds to avoid the county having to borrow to purchase delinquent taxes and to fund pending and future litigation regarding excess proceeds. Total excess determined is $331,304.50 based off of the above appropriations. However, I would suggest a transfer not to exceed $250 into the general fund. Keeping a fund balance is important to the future security of these funds. I also want to just give props to the treasurers before me who have always kept this fund very healthy. I tell you, Montmorency County is very, very fortunate for that. There are a lot of counties, especially the larger counties, that anything extra that they have for surplus, they were throwing it into their general fund. And then guess what? 78T came along. So they're borrowing every year and then they get it paid back with their delinquent taxes, but they never ever saw it coming, the excess proceeds cases, and they're paying out millions and millions of dollars from their general fund for these excess proceeds. On top of that, you have all of the legal costs. So right now there's proposed legislation to try and recoup some of the legal costs in which Montmorency County would see a tiny bit of that. But we are we should be very, very thankful that we keep a very healthy fund balance in this and that we never have to borrow. So I'm thankful for the past treasurers and I will continue to try and keep that going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that said, with that surplus that is available that Lindsay had sent, I had asked the controller to review that surplus amount to see if what their recommendation would be. We always have the option to keep it where it is. We have the option to move it. So if there's any consideration that we would like to move it, she did send us what she thought, and we can read it. Or April, would you want to just explain where you would put the proceeds if we were to remove?
Yeah.
And we're talking the total 200,000, correct?
Yeah, I went with 200,000 just to be safe on the safer side. And I was just suggesting 50,000 of it going into the emergency services fund, continue to keep building that fund, especially when we're talking again with equipment purchases and upgrades and things like that and projects on the horizon. And then 150,000, I would say put into the county improvement fund, but earmarking it specifically for looking at roof repairs and the reorganization of the county offices that we've talked about and other facility improvements, because that's been the things that's been on our forefront conversation. So I'd like to earmark those funds for those specific projects.
I would make the motion to accept the Montmorency County Treasurer's Report of 2026, annual report of balance in the delinquent tax fund, revolving fund, and foreclosure funds pursuant of MCL 211.78, including the treasurer's determination of available surplus funds. And further, the Board of Commissioners hereby approves the designation and transfer of 200,000 of the identified surplus funds for the 50,000 to the emergency services fund and the 150,000 to the specific roof, to the specific county improvement funds that we've already discussed, roof repairs reorganization. And give the controller administrator authorization to direct and coordinate and oversee those budget amendments, accounting entries, and administration actions required to carry out this motion in accordance with county policy and applicable law. Do I have support?
I'll support.
We have motion and support. Okay, do we want to discuss? You are
What do you
okay?
mean by reorganization of county offices?
Judge Green has talked for a couple of years now. That, you know, she has brought up, and she brought up
Preventing
in December.
access
Yeah,
and-
so, yeah,
that
she's
type of
wondered
thing.
if, we haven't heard from her directly since December, but she had mentioned she wants one access, those kind of things, so it'd be towards that, and of course, the roof that we've discussed,
So it would involve some construction to,
probably. And actually, we haven't heard from Judge Green, but we definitely want to get going on our roof. We want somebody to
Yeah.
give us.
Yeah, well,
because
it's
we know we have.
getting nice. We gotta get some roof work done, for sure. And that 50,000 going into emergency service fund, I did just check, because you had asked me the balance in the emergency service fund. Currently, our balance is $101,000 in the emergency services fund, so this would bring it to 151,000.
Right, but we just discussed that we might use some of that funding money for some of these projects.
Yep.
that We've already listed. Actually, today, we're finding that to be a very useful fund,
Yes.
actually. Helps to make some of those projects go a little faster. Anybody else have any questions?
No.
Roll call, please.
Burns,
Yes.
Hiltier,
Yes.
Amlin,
Yes.
Madison,
Yes,
Bob.
yes,
Okay, motion passes. Now we're to the additional, the drone purchase. I don't know, it started out, we were, who wants to?
I can
share
start
from.
and kind of jump in. So on Monday, I emailed everybody, so we're talking about the NEMCOG drone. And obviously things have changed even since Monday. And not substantially, but so just to recap, NEMCOG is eliminating the drone program that they had established just a couple years ago. They had a DJI Enterprise, it's a M30T, so it's a very capable drone, very good drone. It is a couple of years old, and they're looking to offload that now. Our county and Alcona County are the two counties that became very interested in this unit and both expressed interest in purchasing the unit. So the original request, or I'll say list price per se from NEMCOG, was $12,500. I believe when I emailed the board, I did try to encompass all the add-ons that they had, all the extra batteries, propellers, cases, etc. So again, very capable drone. It would meet all the needs that we're looking for. The other caveat that I addressed to FPS is that our deputy Sanner that we reacquired was actually the drone operator of this unit when he worked at NEMCOG, so he has firsthand knowledge of the unit itself. I did speak to him to make sure it was going to be potentially a worthwhile investment. Okay, so after Monday, obviously, we found out that Alcona County expressed their interest, so now NEMCOG is looking for a sealed bid process to be awarded to the highest bidder. So I still believe this is a good choice. I know I was able to review April's email from yesterday, and some of the concerns, I'll say that with it being a used unit, potentially probably noted limited warranty on the unit itself. Those are concerns, things that we would have to take into account. My goal out of this, my goal is to get this program up and running. We've been kind of on a hold pattern for the last couple of years. As you recall, we were able to raise, through the generous donations of the community, almost $7,700 to put towards this unit, whatever this unit is. So if we're deciding to not participate in the bid process for this unit, then all I would ask is that we absolutely have the authority to move forward with requesting bids. And I know some of the things that were brought up was US made products. And it is, and this, nothing's changed since 2 years ago, 3 years ago when we started doing this. Law enforcement and local entities still aren't seeing any restrictions on the use of DJI, which has a lot of the like Chinese stuff, but they're always more economical and have generally more capabilities for less money. Where we're seeing a lot of the absolute restrictions with US made is when they're specifically industry specific. Power utilities, Fermi plants, things like that. I know the feds have really narrowed the scope and said you cannot utilize drones that have these technologies in them. And they are going to be at least probably $10,000 more than what we're going to be looking at, $5,000 to $10,000 more. So,
But for our purposes,
this to look at the DJI is a well-used in our line of work, fire, EMS, search and rescue is a very common, useful tool. Skydio and some of the other USA brands are very good, not minimizing them, but they are significantly more expensive. And again, that's why when I approached, it was the cost effectiveness of this. I mean, we were looking at, I was hoping less than 12,500. But the goal is to get a drone to get this asset into our building so we can start working towards implementing it, getting the policies, getting everybody trained up on it and start putting it to use. So I'm not completely opposed. I understand the hesitation in purchasing a used unit for hypothetically, the asking price of 12.5 or more, depending on what the closed bid would end up being. What I am asking is if we decide to not do that again, through that emergency service fund, that we say, you know what, we are gonna move forward with this, start getting the RFPs and allow me to start shopping and getting these. Again, our EM is a drone operator, which was exciting news. We do have Deputy Santer, who is not only a drone operator, but a licensed pilot. So we have assets available that can start using these immediately. Deputy Scheibel already took his 107 test and passed, but that was a couple years ago. So it's getting the unit and getting trained. Now, drone operations, especially in like law enforcement, search and rescue, a lot of counties actually come together for monthly, quarterly type trainings to try and hone skills, because God willing, you're not using it often. So, there'll be training that the assigned officers will be utilizing. So that's kind of the long story. A lot happened since Monday. Again, the reason for the NEMCOG, in my opinion, was just the benefit of fiscalness. We could put a bid in for 12.5 and get it. We could put a bid in for 12.5 and not get it. The exposure would be the potential of it is used equipment, and generally speaking, it's not going to have warranty assigned to it. If we're comfortable with spending another, $5,000 to whatever more $1,000, because the only other issue is I don't know where things are at with tariff. If they have them in stock, hopefully we're not going to see much. Otherwise, you do have the potential that these units can have a price tag associated with them. And I would say anywhere between probably $17,000 to $20,000 is what we will be looking at for a final product.
but in the last 13 months, I can see where it could have been utilized in our area.
Oh, sir.
I was just thinking of the flood recently, when they went to ask that people evacuated and people initially said no. But then as soon as they said no, by the time we got to the emergency meeting, we already had somebody that had said no, they weren't coming off the island, but wanted their medications.
Even recently as the fire.
Yeah.
All over the ranch.
Yeah. And there's, and again, that's, like I said, my goal is just to get get the asset in place so that we can start training and figuring out how we can most, prolifically use it. I've already previously talked to the fire chiefs, and one of my goals was to see if each of the fire departments would have at least one person try and gain that drone operation, because best practice is that you always have two when you're flying, if at all possible. You have your pilot and you have your spotter. or they can switch out because you're staring at a screen the entire time. So, if we could have our best practice, it would try and have, more than obviously one drone operator and potentially let them cross the emergency services lines.
My email to the board and Chad, was just to, get approval from the board to allow Chad and I maybe to work with Tom and Sarah to get quotes and get approval up to an amount or whatever to get one ordered and get the program, use those $7,700 that we got for the drone project donations done already and get something ordered and in place for them. Because that money has been there since 2022. It should be utilized and get the project up and running. So
So
that was
could
my
it be
point.
like a two-step where you could, you could reach out? Well, or do you want to, when does the seal bid have to be in it?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
I have a question about, is there a minimum bid that, I mean, I know they want
That's what I was
12.5, but if it's sealed bids, could we put in a bid for $7,500 and maybe get it still?
It's a sealed bid process, so I don't recall, the email I received from NEMCOG is the one I forwarded. It didn't state anything, as far as a minimum bid. I know that the original ask or look was 12.5.
Is there any damage history listed with this?
No, none that I'm aware of. And Deputy Sanders said it was utilized not with any significant frequency at that NEMCOG either. I mean, it was used, but it wasn't like it was being flown every day or anything.
If we had to have repairs made to it, what would be the cost per hour to get that repaired?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea.
Probably.
What is the life expectancy of one of them? Any idea or?
Well, kind of like anything else, it's going to be use. The more you use it, the more times you're running the batteries, you're running the props, you're running the machine. It's only going to have that much, I'll say, life expectancy. But there's agencies, talking to Alpena, even Alcona, Emmett. I mean, they've had drones for in excess of 5+ years. And things break that they have to repair propellers and, swap out batteries, things of that nature. But a lot of it depends on kind of use and abuse.
So could we do the repairs in-house or would we need to send the drone out, I guess?
It depends. The prop stuff, I would say can probably, that can all be done in-house. But if you start getting into electronics or anything, that would certainly be.
Do we know where the closest place would be or where we would send it?
I have no idea.
So the maintenance of the drones, so the propellers are like, that's a very frequent thing because they very easily get damaged. That's something like I can do on my own drone.
Yeah.
Any battery maintenance, anything of that sort. Most drones, unless there's a serious like software issue, the drone operators manage all that maintenance themselves. Because that's just what we learn and it's very easy to do. But when it comes to the software updates and that, I mean, that's having that customer support directly with the company. And I personally have a DJI drone, but it goes back to, they haven't used it very much. It's like a tractor, how many hours do you have on your tractor? Drones are very similar. How many hours do you have on your drone? And so with this one not being used, it's a good thing other than it doesn't have the warranty. But then again, they didn't put a minimum bid on this. So, you come in low and maybe you get it too, because maybe Alcona County is thinking the same thing.
Mainly for emergencies, use the drone, right?
Yep. I think I think it was Commissioner Hardy sent out an email. I don't know if that was to everybody or not, but yeah, a lot of it, a majority of ours is going to be search and rescue specifically, whether it's suspect or victim, but it's a lot of it, that I would see us utilizing for is going to be search and rescue, the mushroom hunters, the dog walkers, so, whatever it might be. Inevitably, if we're able to advance that, looking at overwatch of anything, whether that be a car crash scene, a natural disaster scene, a fire scene, things of that nature, and especially the units we're looking at, the thermal is a major priority. It has to have, night vision and or thermal so that you're able to see either those hot spots for the fire or individuals that are lost or hiding.
And could it drop like medications or?
See,
things?
for me, the payload portion is far less, I'll say, important, because I think, again, that was asked, and when I looked at that, to deliver any significant payload, you need a very large drone. So I want to say that MT-30 with its payload, I think it said like 500 grams, which is like just over a pound and a half or something.
So it's mainly just search
It's
and rescue.
little small things. Yeah, I
Accidents.
mean, even if you had somebody in the water, you're not flying a life jacket out to them or something. You would
Yeah.
need a much more substantial drone. And we're not at that point. Our biggest, I look at the situations we're gonna be in, it's gonna be that search and rescue and or an overwatch situation.
I don't think anybody disagrees with the usefulness of it.
Right.
We should go forward.
It's
Getting
which way
where
we want to
do we
go.
want to go, which way
Right.
do we want to go with the used
And
or
I understand
looking to
that.
new?
Can, I think you could propose to do both.
Yeah, go
We
ahead.
could-
and-
that's what I was-
A
Put a
quote.
bid in.
A low ball or bid.
Right, and if we don't
that
get it,
fails, go
to-
ahead. Just
And that's what I was gonna
looking
suggest
to-
is maybe we just put a low bid into MCOG and then if not, if you're gonna be going up to 12.5, then I say we really should put the money into a new one. But if you're gonna go to the used one, then put in the low bid and try for that. But I would give Chad the approval to do both options and see where it goes.
Yeah, and if we've got money that's already been raised and like you said, has been sitting there for 4 years now, it might behoove us to maybe give you a high end.
Yeah.
Amount that you can take from that emergency fund, you had said?
Yeah.
That was a potential to use that?
Yeah.
And even previously when we were looking, because again, when you start getting into new, there's some benefits. I mean, terrestrial imaging, Erie, there's a couple different companies that you can utilize to help collaborate with potential purchases. But sometimes when you go through those companies, they'll also provide a level of training. Now, it's never free, but it can be part of that package purchase that you're looking at. So they go through all the things that Sarah's talking about.
Would there be
Operations,
like a service agreement
Oh, yeah.
like monthly that we would be
Right,
paying
yeah.
also?
All that's gonna depend on who you end up going through. As you know, with any computer, they love to sell you service contracts.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm not, like I said from the beginning, my goal is the outcome. If you want to do a $7,000 bid, I guess that's up to you. It may, with the understanding that they may decline it or not accept it or accept it. And I guess then at that point, we got it for a steal.
Well, I think that was just for
For
example.
instance.
Yeah, but I would be willing to make the motion to have us pursue a two-step for this drone project. Number one, between you and Sarah and April, come up with a bid for an MCOG and whatever you guys determine would be the appropriate bid. But secondly, if we don't get the bid, if we don't get the used drone, to pursue looking into another drone to utilize the money that's already been raised and to use the emergency fund for up to, what did you say, 20,000?
I would not go less than that.
That you can pursue that and just
Yeah,
update the board?
and I guess, with the 20,000 we're not purchasing anything, so it really doesn't matter at this point. We'll be putting
Just to get
together a
quotes.
Right.
package and saying, here's our options, here's what we suggest, and decision from there.
And especially because batteries and things are expensive and you definitely have to have multiple
And
batteries.
that's, again, when, like specifically the way they had theirs set up with the extras they had it set up, they did a nice job on it because some of these units, the one we're talking about right now, this DJI, you can hot swap. So, with 10 batteries, I think it might be a 2-battery fly system. Every time you land it, you can throw fresh batteries in it and off you go. There's zero downtime because you're always cycling
Right.
through those batteries. And,
Right.
on most enterprise type units, that is the case, but having that many batteries in a charging system is really good because it keeps you in the air longer.
Absolutely. And it looks like it has like a 30 to 40 minute uptime.
Yeah, and a lot of that can be condition dependent, but yeah, that one was, I think, right around that 40-minute mark.
That's good practice.
I'd like to ask Sarah, what are your requirements as the emergency manager that this drone would need to do for you?
Well, I personally, with my position, I don't have time to be a drone operator, even though I am a licensed pilot. But this will work for everything. I mean, just an example, if we have a plane crash, a small plane crash at the airport in Hillman, a lot of these airplanes have something called like a ballistic chute where the pilot pulls the trigger and it launches them out for safety. If a plane goes down and that ballistic chute has been altered or it had gotten slightly pulled, when responders go out there and they start pulling the individual out of the plane, they don't know if that chute has been, pulled out or if it got caught on the individual. So like with thinking outside the box with the drone, you can fly the drone in, you could, do a surveillance of the plane, check that ballistic missile to make sure it hasn't been accidentally deployed at all of any sort, because that could cause implications with our first responders. So those are just some additional type things that you could use it for. But yeah, I mean, we are fortunate to have Michigan State Police and their teams that have all the access to this, but to have something, not boots on the ground, but in the air here in the county, timeliness wise, it's essential in this day and age. So we absolutely should have operators. I know ACC has a program that I went through, grant funded through Michigan Works, so we can send more folks to become drone operators. And that's paid for through the Michigan Works program. So that's an opportunity for us to kind of go out and do some recruitment of whether it's fire departments or law enforcement. The nice thing about this, it comes at a good time because if we make that next cut for the congressional spending, this kind of incorporates into that mobile command trailer where the drone operators can have a flat screen TV at the command. So we have our operators out in the field, but we can get real-time footage at the emergency command trailer. So definitely beneficial from an emergency management standpoint, because it helps the people in the field, it helps the people at command. So it's.
And we did utilize during the ice storm here. We did have,
Yes.
we did use that and it was very useful. And, industry wise, we've used it. We use it, we use it on the farm. Drone services, they're awesome what they can do. So say what I said. If you would repeat that bad.
With Jeff.
So motion was to purchase a drone for the sheriff's office. I have with the bid, but you didn't say a price, so.
I think it was
And then you said if we
between,
don't get the bid, then they can use the funds in the emergency fund to purchase a new drone. Yeah, I think you need to.
Yes, up to a
So I guess
certain amount.
at this point, I don't know that, and I'll let you folks, but really at this point, as far as requesting bids, pricing, I don't know that you need to put a top end on that. Because we
You
have to
just
come
wanna
back
come
to.
back with it.
Just
I mean,
come
if
back
you want to
with
put a
the-
number, I'd say 25, frankly, and then, we'll shop from there. But I think the biggest thing is just making sure that the unit we buy meets the, the standards that the that the county's looking for and has the capabilities that the emergency services need. And then we can kind of go from there.
And coordinate those services between, Chad and emergency services and April.
Sure.
Oh, sorry.
Just a question maybe for clarification for the motion, when the max amount is listed at 20 or 25, is that 20 out of emergency fund plus the donations or a total purchase price of 20?
Total purchase.
Okay. Just that it's clear.
But we don't, nobody has seconded yet. I can amend it. I can just leave it open-ended and just to.
And that's not the bid amount we're going
No,
for. We're going
right.
for a low bid. If we can get that for
Yes.
use and then, but we're gonna
Yes.
look at the purchase price up to
Low
25.
bid, if it's not obtained, then to look on, look for purchasing options.
I'll second that.
I was just waiting until she had it.
Oh, you did?
No, I was just waiting to
Okay.
see until she had it.
Oh, is to purchase a drone for the sheriff's office with a bid first, and if we don't get the bid, then they can use the funds in is it the emergency fund? Like what fund is it called?
Emergency services fund.
Emergency services fund. You purchase a new drone up to 20,000.
We can, I will amend that to Chad's right, to amend that to say that then they can form, with the 3 entities, they can look at pulling bids. Bring it back to the board. Sorry, I was just trying to get both options, so.
Motion,
So
here,
you
Yeah,
just,
so you don't have to add the emergency services fund in that either at this.
a motion to
So-
gather quotes for a new drone for total purchase price up to 25,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Be determined by.
Let's make it very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it ends up being more, trust me, we'll
purchase
get
a
it. Yeah.
drone for the sheriff's office. What did you say, April?
To get quotes for purchase of a new drone for a total purchase price up to 25,000.
Fine, everybody's notes.
And submit a low bid quote to NEMCOG. Because that's 2 steps of this.
No. You get quotes for the purchase of a new drone for the sheriff's office. Up to, what did you say, 20,000?
25,000, did you say?
Right, including, which would include.
Total
the-
purchase price.
Right, which would include the $7,700
Or to,
funding already in place.
what would you say after that, or to,
And to submit a low bid to NEMCOG. For used purchase. That covers everything.
Because you might scare another place. and-
Yeah.
The only one that is.
The NEMCOG.
Starting a bidding war, it should be just, this is what it is, and draw straws or whatever, to see who gets it.
to get quotes for the purchase of a new drone for the sheriff's office up to 25,000 and to submit a low bid to NEMCOG for a used purchase of a drone.
Yes.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Lloyd.
Okay.
Now we can discuss.
Hurry, Paul.
Yeah. There's just a lot of things as we discussed. Any further questions? Roll call, please, Lori.
Peltier,
Yes.
Hamlin,
Yes.
Madison,
Yes.
Bob,
Yeah.
Hardee's.
Yes. Motion passes. That concludes our agenda items, so 10:30, without objection, we will adjourn.
Question on the meet, huh?
Yes, we can hold on.
It's just, two things. I was gonna ask, how do you ask a district person, because I'm asking this of Lloyd, that Lloyd goes to NIMSA meetings that relates to McCall meetings, but we never get a report from NIMSA how it relates to McCall. Now, whether or not that's important to you, it's just it's something I can see how it affects our community.
I would ask Lloyd to take that to your NEMSCO board to see how that they can work that out.
NEMSCA is part of, McCullough is part of NEMSCA. They have an office right in the building. And they have, just like with our heating and cooling and our water project,
We don't get a report from NIMSA or any kind of the relationship, because half the money comes from there, not local, and as well as local county. My second question is, you all voted on a millage proposal that kind of affects the 3 communities.
correct.
And through this last little meeting that we had, the gentleman said that, well, if you have a millage like that, is you should have a stipulation. Otherwise, a millage could vote out any one community when you actually have like 3 said communities here. It just is something to think about, whether or not, kind of like it stops here. Otherwise, someone could ask for a millage and say, well, all 3 of you are out.
We just approved millage language. for those who are
But I mean, is there,
discussing to NEMSCO.
otherwise, there's no way that this board can say that we need to take it back and adjust for.
That needs to come from their board level. That needs to come from their board levels.
Otherwise,
We just set language.
thank you.